Hey, yo, welcome back to the Boston Sports Brothers podcast. We are thrilled to have Marina Maher with us this evening from Barstool Sports, Bruins extraordinaire. She told us her real title is social media manager, but to be honest, she's our go-to person for all Bruins content at Barstool. So we're thrilled to have her with us tonight. J Matt and Big E are here. Kraz is trying to get in on the video and audio side, so we're rocking and rolling here this evening with a great crew. Gabe is under the weather as well, so he's not with us tonight. So it's like a hockey shift, people in and off the
I
bench,
know.
and Joe Sacco's barking orders. We'll get into that. But first thing we got to talk about is Juan Soto, who signed the most rich contract in sports history in America, I believe. I don't know if anyone's gotten a billion in America, certainly overseas some of those soccer players, but 15-year deal, 765 with the Mets, leaves the Yankees. So just quickly, any thoughts off the top? Marina, we'll start with you. I don't know if you pay attention to baseball.
Oh, I know ball. Let
All
me
right,
tell you,
good.
I
Let's
know
go.
ball.
We love
Love it.
He got the Kovalchuk. I mean, that's just he got the Kovalchuk contract, which is like so funny to like relate it to hockey. I'm for that money and the amount, like I'm kind of glad he's not on the Red Sox actually. Like I think it was such a it was such a tease for the longest time, but it's I'm just happy. I'm more happy that he spurned the Yankees than I am upset that he's not on the Red Sox, if that makes sense.
Definitely a good consolation prize. J Matt,
Yeah.
Big E, thoughts on Soto?
I, you know, it was too rich of a contract for the Red Sox. I wanted him, of course. I think we all wanted him, but at a certain price, I think, once you get upwards of 750, and I think it has he has the chance to make it over 800, I think, too, with
Yeah, some
incentives
kickers.
and bump ups and kickers. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a little too rich. I'm starting to think hopefully the Red Sox will at least try and spend some of that money that they were offering throughout with a couple players, maybe add two or three, but it's going to be tough with the Yankees sitting right there, right next to him.
Yeah, just some quick thoughts here on my end. This is Big E here. Uncle Stevie will not be denied. I read some stuff yesterday just about some of the level of research that they put into it, and how there was a Yankee security guy who ended up not allowing, a family member and his driver and chef into the clubhouse at one point, and people remember those things. So good on the Mets and Steve Cohen for unearthing all that stuff and going after it. Josh, just kind of like you said, the Red Sox had offered all this money. Now put the money where the mouth is. Like, let's go get some players.
Absolutely. Marina, one of the things we do on the podcast is the penalty box, and anybody can be thrown in the penalty box. Doesn't have to be, it's like anyone that we're kind of pissed off at or not thrilled with. And John Henry usually is uh, always in the penalty box, but we've allowed him to get out on the ice and skate and try and find some free agents for us this off season. So we'll see what happens. But let's turn our attention to the Bruins and a team that has started to turn the corner a little bit here after what was a very interesting sort of 2 month start to the season. But Marina, want to start there, just sort of overall season thoughts. Would you say that this week, the Bruins have started to turn that corner and become the team that we were hoping for them to be this season?
Yeah, for sure. And it's been a roller coaster of a year. I think it's been the most painful, year in the sense of like watching them play. Like you're just so front like it's like pulling teeth watching the games this year, but they've turned a corner, fired Montgomery. Sacco, I think, is doing a good job. I want to see them beat teams in playoff positions. I think they've kind of beaten up on a lot of lousy teams. They came back up against the Flyers. That was nice to see, but I'd like to see them, push forward and kind of play some better teams and see if they can, play up to what we know that they kind of are. We have a sense of what they are, but good on them for getting back into a playoff spot. It feels like they have played 800 more games than everybody else. I feel like I'm watching them every other night at this point. So I'm excited. They're going out west. I'm excited to see how they do and how they fare out there. And 4 game win streak. Let's keep it going.
You
No
mentioned
doubt.
that they've been playing a lot of games. The games in hand right now is something I'm keeping an eye on because they're definitely third in the Atlantic right now based on the way points are, but right behind us is Tampa, and Tampa's got
They got like 5 games or
four.
something,
Yeah,
They
right?
four, I
got
think,
four
right?
four less
Crazy.
games and only 3 points behind. So
Yeah,
really need to continue with the momentum that we've had this past week. It's been great, but I'm keeping my eyes a little bit behind us because I see Tampa coming up our rear.
for sure.
So
And it's like Well, you kind of knew that going in. They're like, oh my God, look at all these teams have games on hand. But you're also seeing teams like the Sabres, like you know what the Sabres are. Like, so I think, maybe if the Bruins don't get into an Atlantic Division spot, come playoff time, they'll be in the wild card, I'd imagine.
What's your expectation for this road trip coming up? Five, was it a 5 game road trip out
Yeah,
west
they're
for
on the road
a
for
week
a
and a
very
half?
long time. Something like that. Yeah, on the
Yeah.
road for a while. Didn't like to see the Pasta injury news. He was a guy I kind of wanted to get going, goal scoring wise. He's doing a great job setting up Pavel Zacha a couple of times. So he was a guy that I was gonna be like, oh, like I'd love to see him get going. So then you kind of turn the page to the rest of the lineup. Coyle is a guy, starting to get going here. So I think just continuing to build off their momentum, which they haven't done all year long, is really what I want to see.
I think they've been building, and we talked about it, and maybe we lost sight of it at the beginning of the season because of all the stuff that was going on with Swayman, and then the Monty stuff seemed to dominate the headlines for a couple weeks there for sure. But this team, we talked about earlier that this team had a lot of new pieces to it and would need some time to gel. So perhaps that's all part of it, and part of the equation is they've had that time. We were just talking about the road trip, so hopefully some time for some bonding, some off the ice. Little credit card roulette at dinner sort of deal, that sort of stuff, all the things that the hockey guys get into. J-Matt, you want to take let's talk a little bit about Marina's coworker and Marchand.
Yeah, so you know the Spit and Chicklets guys, of course. Have you had any interactions with them?
I haven't seen them in a while, no, but one of my first jobs at Barstool was actually running their social, so I know those guys like the back of my
Okay.
hand. So seeing Martian and Biz go at it, not once but twice is I don't know, Biz kind of lit a fire under Martian's ass. I would like him, I'd like it to happen every night. Like I think, Biz should come and be on Nesson for that. All I could ask for is him to come, do this on Nesson, do it every night because Martian seems to play well when he's chirping Biz.
Yeah, and the meme that you put out after that game of Marchand, the elf from the movie Elf, running and kicking Biz in the face was like one of the all-time late candidate for meme of the year, I think I said. And I agree that Brad Marchand being the captain of the team and having him going probably inspires the rest of the team as well. I have to assume. He himself had his own off season coming off the surgeries, and it's great to see him going. And then just in terms of like we talked about it a little bit, but like is this team in a position to be able to make a run this year and like win a cup, or is do we think that it's more so what we've seen the past couple of years? They'll make the playoffs, but eventually run out of gas to the top tier teams.
It's a great question. I mean, anytime you can get in, anything can happen, right? Like they could make a run like the Blues did in 2019, bottom of the league team who kind of went on a sick run. So I always say, you know what, you get in and anything can happen. I'm incredibly worried about the goal scoring. Their offense just seems to dry up. But I think maybe that's something that they can address in a trade. Don Sweeney's not afraid to mix up I think this is maybe Sweeney's last year, and he's gonna maybe try and save his job at the trade deadline. He already used the Montgomery card, fired him, so he's kind of out of cards to play for him. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Anything can happen once you get in, and so it's been such a tough year for them already. Like you had all of the negotiation stuff with Swayman to start the year. Marchand had 800 off-season surgeries. There's just a lot of noise around the team. Montgomery gets fired. It seems like they're finally kind of getting settled, and it's going to be just something to keep an eye on, like where they go from here, really.
Yeah, you mentioned the 2019 Blues. We try and forget them here.
I
That was a
know.
that was a rough,
Mm.
rough, rough run. I think like there have also been some guys who have been big contributors in the past that really have kind of ghosted a little bit this year. Someone like a Charlie Coyle, Pavel Zacha, they've turned it on a little bit as of late, but we're sitting here a month and a half into the season and they're just finally starting to get it going. You mentioned goal scoring being a huge issue for this team. Is there anybody that you're looking out there, like on any of the other teams that you're saying, hey, this is someone that we should be looking after. This is someone that we should be targeting at some point, whether it's now or right before the trade deadline?
It's always interesting because you don't know whose name is actually out there. Like we saw the whole tampering stuff go on with the Rangers in Ottawa, which was pretty funny. The Senators owner coming out the Rangers for all that drama. Brady Tkachuk would be awesome if I'm tampering with Ottawa right now. Brady Tkachuk is on the top of my board. In division, Tage Thompson. I think someone needs to save him from Buffalo. He would be an amazing Bruin. Who else? I guess you'd have to look at like the Anaheim Ducks. I think Trevor Zegras is hurt right now, but I think they could probably get him for cheap. He doesn't look like he's having fun whatsoever in Anaheim. So it's always interesting because you never really know who's actually available, but they need someone. I think you're seeing the absence of Jake DeBrusk right now and the energy he brought to the lineup and his albeit streaky goal scoring. They need someone in that middle six to really pack a punch. And so I'm a welcome addition for anyone who could do that.
So
Brady
we keep
Chuck would
talking.
be interesting because that would really, ignite the rivalry that we already have with
Yeah.
Florida and make it that much better.
Ottawa would
See,
never.
keep talking about like lack of goal scoring, and like that's really apparent. I don't even know where they are at the league in the league. They're probably at the bottom half, I would imagine. But I know they're at the bottom. They're at last in the league in the power play. What's got to change in the power play for you? Because it seems like that's just a waste of 2 minutes at this point when it happens, and that's not sustainable in my eyes.
Yeah, for sure. And that was when Montgomery was fired. I was like, when they announced that Saka was going to be the interim, I was like, oh, well, someone should take over the power play then because it shouldn't be him. They're so bad at it. It reminds me of 2011 when, you were just like decline the power play. They're so bad at it. I think they were so worried about shot quality versus shot volume with Montgomery that I think now they just need to pull the trigger. You're seeing Pasta, not pull the trigger, and it's so unlike him. So I think something needs to change. They need a whole new voice, I think, running that power play. Give it to Chris Kelly, give it to somebody else because it's not working right now. When you get into the playoffs, the defense is going to be there, but the goals is it's hard to come by. But special teams is what really makes or breaks a team in the playoffs. If they can't convert, then it's over. Like they won't have a chance.
Yeah, they're gonna need to figure that out and at least get themselves to the middle of the pack is because it's not
Yeah.
sustainable as we've mentioned there. One thing that the beginning of the season has sort of shown was Swayman. And like when we talk about the playoffs and the future of the season, and really the future of the team considering the contract he signed. You know, he seems like he started to turn the corner, but it hasn't really like rounded into, top five in the NHL goalie Swayman. But that is, if Swayman can stand on his head and get back to how he was playing in that Toronto series, last playoffs, like then it's a chance. But they need him, can he do that for the duration of a playoff run? That's a question. We talked a little bit about Corpusalo as well. Like he's filled in admirably as a very good number two option this year. So goaltending starting to help the Bruins win games when, 2-1, 3-2.
Yeah, I'm hoping Corpusalo plays well, and then you can flip him, at the deadline and maybe get some pieces back, shed some money. Would be ideal. I think Swayman had a weird training camp with all this negotiations. That's why I think, they're out west for 5 games. I think it's going to be a blessing. Like I think, you get away from your family, you get away from all the noise of Boston, you get away from everything. You're with the boys, team camaraderie and all that. I think it'll be a good thing. Now will it convert on the ice? We'll see.
They got the ice in front of them to be able to do it. Looking a little bit at the week that was, it was definitely the best week of the season so far. 3-0. Our buddy Gabe, who's not with us tonight, has been asking for this week all season. So they delivered for him. Two Pasta to Zaka overtime game winners, which were sweet, almost like identical plays, which was really
Yeah.
awesome to see. And as we talked about, Marchand starting to heat up a bit. So they're on this lengthy road trip over the next week and a half or so. And they have an opportunity to continue to climb in the standings. Marina, we want to shift the conversation a little bit to one final question here, and then we'll do a lightning round and get you on out. But the question now is like your career at Barstool, like, and because you're working on the social media sort of side, like how did that originate and how did you get into that? Because you've been there a while since that New York move, I think, a while back in headquarters 2.0, if you will. So talk to us just about your entire Barstool experience, Team Portnoy member, and sort of, your journey from when you started to where you're at now.
Yeah, it's been a blast. When I turned 30, I was like, oh my God, I'm old. I'm about to embark on my, oh God, eighth or ninth year at the company. My math is hard. I dropped out of college. So I've always just been social media, like just it really started back, way before I even got to Barstool, just tweeting about the Bruins has been my bread and butter, ever since I can remember. Um, and so the fact that it had led me to my dream job is such a blessing. And then to working with Dave Portnoy. So originally, when I got to Barstool, I slid into Dave's DMs being like, hey, like, I can do all of these things. And he was like, all right, let's get on a call. Got the job, got to New York. I, like I talked about earlier, I was working with Spit and Chicklets on their social media. I was working with Foreplay. I knew nothing about golf. I ran a couple of different accounts. Just Swiss Army knife type stuff is really what I would describe myself as. And then eventually 2017, 2018, started working with Dave, and I've been with him helping with his social ever since. And then writing about the Bruins, tweeting about the Bruins and stuff. All of that is on the side. I couldn't ask for a better job. And it's just so fun waking up every day and like I pinch myself that like this is my job and I get paid to do it. Dave's been so great to me, and it's funny because you see Dave on the internet as this big bad man who's like mean to all of his employees, but he couldn't be, greater to me. So I am one of a few, I would say that I am lucky in that sense, to not get the wrath of Dave Portnoy. Well, I guess on occasion, I should say. But it's been awesome. I've like the life I live now, is all because of him, and I'm so grateful. Is really kind of what it comes down to.
Big E, J Matt, any Barstool questions? I got a few, but I want to let you guys jump in on anything Marina just was talking about there.
Yeah, Marina, you talked a lot about how you basically have done a lot of different jobs at Barstool. Um, the one that I'm most interested in is, when you were doing social for Foreplay and for Spin Chicklets, how did that kind of come about? And like, did you like doing that more so than handling Dave's socials, or do you like doing your own stuff on the side? What makes you excited every day?
It's all exciting to me. I think the golf stuff was hard for me because I'm not a golf person. So that was challenging in itself. But those guys are such great guys that it didn't feel like a challenge, if that makes sense. When I first got hired, Dave wanted me to work with Chicklets because I had a hockey background. And that was way before Biz even joined. Um, and it was right when Grinnell got there. So I was helping with them and then helping with Foreplay at the same time, actually. And I'm just like not a golf person, but here I am like watching the Masters like religiously. And I've kind of taken that with me. So I think just being able to learn new things and pick up new things because I wasn't a golf person, like didn't make me, I guess I was unqualified for the job, but it didn't like, I don't know how to word it. It didn't scare me, I should say. It was like, all right, I can listen to their podcasts, help with their clips, get viral stuff up. Like, I treated it just like as another job. Like, oh, I can take what I apply to hockey and the chicklets and stuff and do the same thing with Foreplay.
If
That led
anything,
me. That led me into the stuff with Dave.
Yeah, if anything, I think you were like the right person for that just because of what you were doing with your other stuff at Barstool. So
Yeah, and there
I
were a
wouldn't
couple
say
of
you were unqualified at all.
I ran a dog Instagram account called I Can't Even for the longest time, and it was just viral videos of cute pets. Like I think just like I said, being a Swiss Army knife, taking information in and being able to do all different types of stuff. You don't box yourself in, and you can it kind of leads you to whatever you want to do. So now working on Dave's team, I love working with Dave. Dave's the best. I wouldn't say it's easier or harder than the Foreplay or the Chicklets of it all. It's just a different realm. Like it's Dave's, you're just laser focused on whatever Dave is doing 24/7, 365. So that's the only different. It's no different than, following the Bruins and seeing what Marchand's doing and whatever. So it's interesting where it led me. I've been with Dave, I think 6 years now. Yeah, I think it's been 6 years now with Dave, which has been awesome. And it has flown by. Like I can't even remember the first time I stepped into that office. It's been so long. So that's the craziest part about it is feeling so old. Everyone talks about the Barstool, like Barstool ages you. It's almost like dog years. I feel like I've been there for decades now. It's
I mean,
crazy.
we've been following Barstool since the 2009, 2010 days, so for a long time. And Yeah, the fact that you're around Dave, each and every day, or you talk to him almost every day is it's pretty incredible, and yeah, we're all pretty jealous. So that's for damn sure. I want to move on to the lightning round. So I have a two-part question. I'm only supposed to ask one, but I want to ask two. Um, so how did you get into hockey? How did you fall in love with the sport and the Bruins specifically? And then to build off of that, who is your favorite Bruins player of all time?
Um, I we'd have to go back to the beginning, I guess. So I live a couple 10-15 minutes away from where the Hartford Whalers used to play. And so my first hockey game was actually a Hartford Whalers game. And then they ended up moving to Carolina, but my dad was just such a big fan. My brother played hockey. I grew up in a hockey rink essentially, was just always around the game. I ended up playing.
Nice.
The Whalers moved and then it was the next best thing, and that was the Bruins. And so growing up, it was watching the Bruins with my brother, with my dad, with whoever would watch with me. And so just being around it was addicting. Like I always wanted to watch it. Growing up in Connecticut, you're kind of like you're either with Boston or like if you're in, Fairfield County, you're with the New York teams, right? So it's always interesting to think about if the Whalers never move, would I, be a Whalers fan and maybe not be at Barstool and blogging about the Bruins and whatnot. It's a funny thing to think about if the Whalers didn't leave. But Patrice Bergeron is my all-time number one. He will never knock anyone off the top spot. I don't think, but McAvoy and Pasternak probably runners up.
Very good. In terms of next one, favorite Bruins memory.
Oh God, I was a junior in high school when they won the cup, and I think it's by far the most fun I've ever had in my life watching that entire playoff run, just all those game sevens. It felt like you were playing with them. Like it felt like the highs and lows were unbelievable. And the fact that it's been so long now is just like a punch to the gut. Really. But that entire playoff run, man, was so fun. Even like 2013 was awesome too. Just the way that they lost was pretty tragic, but just the really awesome playoff runs is always fun to kind of like feel a part of, even though like I am not associated with the team whatsoever.
Yeah, that was senior year for me in high school, and that parade, I'll never forget that parade. That was like, I think I've been to each team's parade, which is means we live in the best sports city in the world. That we've gotten to see all of that happen. But that Bruins parade was like a beautiful June day, and I remember it because like senior year was over, and it was like, all right, we're going to this parade, and yes, there was mischief that occurred at the parade for sure.
That's like seeing the Celtics parade this past spring. Like I'm just so like I want to get back there so bad.
Agreed.
It was awesome. It was awesome being there this past summer.
Oh God.
Biggie.
Um,
FOMO.
yeah, just last question from me here is, what's your favorite Bruins jersey? And outside of the Bruins, what's your favorite non-Bruins jersey in the NHL?
Oh, that's a good question. The Pooh Bear Bruins is my favorite. The brand of hockey they played is not my favorite. But I have a Pooh Bear Bergeron jersey hanging up right here. My all-time favorite jersey. They need to do another reverse retro for that thing because it is beautiful. But outside of the league, I love the Devils jerseys. Martin Brodeur in like 2003, I loved watching. It was the Bruins and the Devils for me for whatever reason, and so that jersey sticks out to me. I'm trying to think of who else? Chicago has a classic jersey, but I'm trying to think of Colorado has a good jersey. I think the Nordiques is very underrated, and I guess I'll put the Whalers in there. I think they had a really awesome jersey.
You know, like those Dallas Electric Green?
Billy I didn't hate them as much as everyone. I'm an advocate of more jerseys. Like I think especially like the NFL should do more jerseys. I'm an advocate for like how the NBA does it. You wear a certain jersey a certain night. I think it's fun. They'd make more money selling jerseys. Just like thinking outside the box, but hockey's too classic in that sense, I guess.
Gary Bettman, if you're listening,
I know.
Hey.
Gary, I got a lot of
Streams.
ideas. Gary. Let's have a sit down.
Maybe one day we can help arrange that.
Yeah.
But get in Wit and business here. They seem to they
Yeah.
seem to have some avenues to get to the league office somehow. All right, we want to get you out of here on this. You were talking a little bit about Dave, so I got to know your favorite like Dave character, and then anything that you want to plug anywhere that people can follow you. So we'll wrap things up with that.
Oh my God, favorite Dave character. That's a good one. I mean, I always love when he roots for the Bruins in the playoffs and humps on the bandwagon. Other than that,
You mean when he puts on his full, uniform and everything? It's always the
yeah.
best.
Yeah. When we did Barstool Radio in 2019 with the cup final, and like being invited to that was just like I couldn't believe that like I was so new and he still allowed me to come and do all of these things, and it was really special. Sucks that they lost. Got to witness them losing, which wasn't great. Let me think of other shticks he does. Um
I mean, you got
I'm
Taylor
I'm
Swift
addicted
there.
to the yeah, Taylor Swift is a layup for me because I love Taylor. But I love the gambling streams. I love March Madness Dave because he is living and dying with 20-year-old college kids. And it's the funniest thing to watch. Um because the highs and lows are just insane. And so any of the streams that he does, I'm always like addicted to watching and seeing how he does and how he twists things. I don't know if you guys are watching Surviving Barstool right now, but that is it's one of the best things we do. And seeing him try to play that game and manage all the personalities and all the backstabbing of that may actually be my favorite day because it's one thing that like these are our coworkers and like the people around him, and it's a fine line that they have to walk with him. So seeing how everyone navigates that, I think is very cool.
Yeah, surviving Barstool is one of the best things that Barstool does by far. The season, look who made it in. This
Um,
You're
oh
good. You're
man,
good. We're wrapping up with Marina, but you'll be with
Maria.
us for everything. But with Dave, like going back to surviving Barstool, that content is unbelievable. And like shout out to it's all the cast of characters is amazing, but the teams behind that, from social, from putting it together, editing, video, like it is crazy to think of Barstool in 2009 when you're reading about what Jerry Thornton's writing about the Pats and teachers, and you're reading about Dave and Big Cat and like the core guys just blogging away, Hunchback Dave and everything, like, and where it is now that you're putting on this incredible like production of a show where literally millions of people are watching it, like the evolution of Barstool still amazes me like all the time. It's pretty unbelievable from where it's come.
Yeah, and I still don't understand it, like the magnitude of it and how we even got here. And I've been here for so long and I still can't wrap my head around it. And yeah, like you said, it's a multi-million dollar, production, and it takes a lot of departments to get it going. And the fact that we could even pull it off, it is amazing.
Yeah, yeah. To think like Hank was filming,
Yeah.
the Todd McShay. What do they call that? The combine. So definitely leaps and bounds. Marina, where can people find you on social media? Where can they follow all your fantastic Bruins content and anything you got going there?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter. I think, yeah, both of my Twitter and Instagram is at Marina K. Mar. And then you can read all my Barstool Bruins blogs at barstoolsports.com.
Beautiful. Thank you, Marina. Really appreciate your time. It was a blast to have you on. Welcome back anytime, and hope you have a great rest of your evening and holiday season ahead.
No problem. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, whenever you need me, just holler. I'm typically available after 7 p.m. when my daughter goes to bed. That is my time to myself. It's quite rare these days, but I am available. So thanks for having me on.
Thanks
Excellent.
for coming
Thank
on.
you.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
No problem. Take care, guys.
Okay.
All right. Many thanks to Marina for jumping on with us. Great Bruins conversation, Kraz. Great to see your beautiful face. Hope you're doing well.
Oh, I love that Rhode Island Rams shirt that you're wearing there,
Big
buddy.
win, big win.
Yeah, buddy.
Wow, great minds.
We'll
Look at
talk.
that.
We'll talk about that for sure in a little bit. But want to thank Marina once again for jumping on. Let's keep this train moving let's revisit the Red Sox now that Kraz is with us.
Definitely.
Kraz off the top. We talked obviously about Soto going to the Mets. So give us your thoughts on that. We'll talk a little bit about the rest of free agency now that domino has fallen, and then we'll get into some Celtics talk and a little NFL talk and wrap things up on the show. So Kraz, take it away, buddy.
I'm actually kind of glad Soto signed with the other New York team that wasn't the Yankees. As much as I wanted him, to know or to hear Sam Kennedy say that they're trying to get to 90 to 95 wins a game and they're trying to get back up to, the threshold as far as the tax threshold goes for salary for us, tells me that they're really, I mean, I've already been looking, and Bregman's kind of on their radar. So I would expect that at this point. I think they're going to go all in on him. again, I'm kind of happy that they did that because again, he's not going to the Yankees. Steve Cohen way overpaid for him. Number two, we're not going to have to overpay for him. And now, at least it seems to me that the front office is serious and wanting to spend money. I mean, if they were going to offer him, if they went from 5 to 700 million, I mean, that's a big, big, big jump. So that tells me that they're going to spend that money. And then if they were going to spend 700 million just on Soto, and they were going to get other people too, I mean, it just kind of let's just hope they put their money where their mouth is and actually sign some people here.
Yeah.
So Sam, I
That's all I
think the
can say.
biggest question mark and like what's really scary is the fact that you have the Yankees that offered what, like 760, what was it? Like something crazy for over a
It was
different
only
number
a
of
five million
years.
dollar. It was only $5 million
But the
difference.
fact that the Yankees are willing to do that and the fact that they have that in their back pocket, it's a little nerve-wracking as a Sox fan because they're going to be now competing with the Yankees for premium talent along with probably the Blue Jays. I don't know if they were even in on it, but they have some money to spend too. So, and can't rule out the Dodgers, of course, the freaking Dodgers. They're always going to spend. So that's my biggest concern as a Red Sox fan is just the other competition out
So
there.
so that concern can be addressed by one thing and one thing only: overpaying for a player, specifically a pitcher. You have to overpay for Corbin Burns, even if it's by 5 million a year. You have to do it. If you don't do that, this team is not going to move forward at all. And it doesn't have to be Corbin Burns. It can be Max Fried. Don't get me wrong, but they absolutely need someone to anchor down this rotation. If they don't have someone to anchor down the rotation, they don't have a number one guy. Forget this. It's going to be a 500 baseball team again. They can go and spend as much as they want on all the free agent bats that they could possibly want, but at the end of the day, it comes down to that number one guy. And if they don't have that number one guy, they're not going to get anywhere.
Well, and I
And
think
that's
this
an
is
overrated
something
team to have.
that's interesting too. Like another wrinkle is, yeah, the Yankees are going to be competitive when it comes to going in after any free agent. But I think the Red Sox have another avenue that the Yankees don't, and that's through our farm system, right? The Red Sox have a highly rated farm system, have a lot of players coming up. So the trade market is another avenue where they can make some significant moves too. So is there anybody on the trade market that you're eyeing? I think Crochet is someone that we all kind of have an eye on, but is there anyone else?
Um, Seattle really doesn't want to part with these guys, but Logan Gilbert and George Kirby of the Mariners are both two guys that can. And shout out to, I want to say it's no, George Kirby. He throws the knuckleball in honor of Timmy Wakefield.
Oh, I remember he did that. Yeah.
It was one of those guys. Either one of those two can hold down the rotation. Those two guys are two really spot on guys. You had Luis Severino already signing with the A's, with the A's biggest deal ever in the history of their franchise. Luis Severino. Oh boy.
Getting that Las Vegas money.
And Kikuchi's over in Los Angeles already. So they're in the talks of Freed. They're in the talks with Burns. Those need to get done. And then again, like you said, the trades need to happen. And um, really all I've been hearing as far as trade partners for pitching goes is Seattle and Chicago. Are really our two best options. I'm kind of far fetching it by saying I want Sandy Alcantara or Yuri De Cruz. I'm probably crushing that name right now. But either one of those two guys, I would also be ecstatic for. Again, just
Hmm.
someone that we know every 5 days can take the rubber and at least put up, 5 innings, 6 innings with 2 runs. That's what I'm looking for.
Let's hope that John Henry can put his money where his mouth is and do that and hopefully get some premium talent here.
Well, he did
Um,
with Soto. It's just Steve Cohen is. I mean, you got to look at it this
no,
way also. Is
s-
Steve Cohen is a fan owner.
agreed.
John Henry is not a fan
So
owner.
so Sam, at the top of the show, we all agreed that the contract was too rich. Like it kind of got a little stupid. And we want the Red Sox to spread out that money to different players now. Of course, that's the move. But I'm gonna have some revisionist history. And Carabas and Lou, I'm really sorry, but I have to talk Mookie Betts. Like I really do. That contract looks like an absolute steal right now. 12 years at 365. Like I, it might be one of the biggest blunders in Red Sox history because now it's also affecting the culture and it's affecting, I think, players wanting to come here because they know that they're going to get lowballed and like the history with Lester too. Like it's just enough is enough. So I think this is a really big offseason for the ownership, for the fans, for everyone, because the Fenway Five is on notice. Gabe's not here right now, but if something doesn't get done, like I don't know, like I'm getting
Well,
sick and
fucking
tired of
Chapman ain't
this.
gonna do it. That ain't gonna do it. Like
No, that's certainly
No,
not going to be
they
the move.
gotta he can be a piece, but it's what Sam said. You got to go out and go overpay for one of these pitchers and show more than anything. Like, and God willing, that pitcher produces for us. But you have to go do what Josh just said and what Sam just said, and show that you're going to go out into the marketplace and be legitimate contenders. The problem going back to Mookie is that it was a homegrown player, and that it was like you could have what do you get, 365 and 12, like you could have given him 400 and whatever and overpaid and been on great terms with a homegrown talent player, and now that's $35 million less than what Soto
crazy.
is making. If you compare them as players, I'm sure the stats probably don't speak in my favor when it comes to a comparison between them, but I take Mookie Betts at 40 million over Soto at whatever it's going to be. Like, I think the AAV is 51, but then he got a $75 million signing bonus. So add that on top. So now you're at 850. And as we mentioned off the top as well, some kickers to get him probably close to 900. So the fact
It's
he's making
crazy.
more money than Shohei Ohtani that pitches and
Yeah,
is fucking insane. Like,
that's also egregious too on the ownership, that they weren't in on Shohei last year, but they're in on Soto for the same amount of money. That's egregious.
yeah.
Egregious.
I wonder if the Tommy John scared them away, which is ridiculous just because of how great he is just as a hitter. Don't even like take into account how great he is as a pitcher. Like they should have made a move on him. And I don't know if any of you guys read the article I sent you guys a little bit earlier this weekend. It was from overthemonster.com. They had Zach Scott was out tweeting, not a name that you guys probably are familiar with, but he was someone who used to work in the front office. He worked in baseball from '04 until the end of 2020. He was associated with Jared Porter, who, he had that whole scandal with that reporter where he was sending nudes and all that stuff. But he had some really good insight on the Mookie Betts stuff. And basically, he said that it wasn't about Mookie saying that he wasn't going to sign here. I think that they had offered him some money, and Mookie might have made more money if he even stayed here, but he did say he wanted to test the market, and I think that was the big thing. But he never said he wasn't willing to stay here, and I think that was a narrative that got
So,
spun
so,
isn't accurate.
so I definitely want to touch on that because he did say he wanted to test the free agency market, and it was Josh, Gabe, and I went to the 2018 parade, and the one thing that I noticed, and Plotty, you can, I don't know what you remember about that day, but Mookie was not into it at all. Like he wasn't like he was barely really even smiling when he was up there. And like I was just kind of watching it and being like, I don't think he wants to be here first. And I just got that weird kind of gut feeling. And then the arbitration thing came out, and I was like, oh no, they're not gonna sign him to his $27 million arbitration deal and
but I
not
think
sign
that
him long term.
I don't disagree. I don't remember much of that day, to be quite honest, because it was a fantastic day.
He he really wasn't smiling. It was
But
weird.
no,
And
you're
everyone
not
else
You
was
wrong.
guys
like,
certainly were.
I do remember that, and that was at the time of the day where there was still coherent thoughts that were forming. But but I think that sentiment goes back to like all like the fact that why didn't they go do with him what they've done with now Bayo and Cedar Rafaela, where they're giving these guys contracts at 22, 23, 24 years old. And not to say that they could have done that. They could have done that with Mookie, but like they didn't lock him up at a time. They didn't overpay for him when they should have overpaid for him via what I just mentioned, or Ronald Acuna, or some of these other guys that are younger that have signed those deals to get them to, you become a free agent when you're 28, 29 and go sign another 10-year deal, and probably in their favor because the market resets. Look at how much the market has reset in the last 5 years from premium players being, 30 to 40 million tops to now, we're 60, 70 million. So the entire baseball landscape has changed. And it's awesome to have a hot stove in an off season to talk about baseball wise. So it hasn't been like this in a very long time.
Now
So
they got to produce,
yeah,
Yeah.
put
gotta
actually
produce.
sign people.
we'll continue to talk about it as more news comes out. But we're going to shift gears over to Causeway Street and the other team that occupies the Garden, and that's the Boston Celtics, coming off a busy stretch where they had 4 games over the course of 6 days. Big E, lead us into Celtics talks, quick recaps on the game, and then we'll keep this bus moving around town.
Yeah, so let's talk about the one team in town that really has a realistic shot to win a championship. So thank you, Celtics, for like actually putting a great product out on the court. Interesting week here. There was 4 games. There are a lot of games coming up, a lot of back-to-backs. It was an interesting week of who we played and got wins against Miami, Detroit, and Milwaukee. Milwaukee had been coming on really hot as of late, so that was a really good win. And then sadly lost in our guy Marcus Smart's returned to the Garden for the first time since he got traded, as playing with the Memphis Grizzlies. So still going on a tear, but still looking at the number 2 seed in the East right now, only a game and a half behind the Cavs. So not insurmountable, but definitely need to make sure that we're continuing to go that way. Just some quick highlights here about some of the about the games. First game of the week was Boston versus the Heat. The Celtics versus the Heat. We won that one pretty handily, 108-89. Jalen had a heck of a game, scoring 29.7 boards, 4 assists. Tatum, not his best shooting night, but he did affect the game in other ways. Did score 18 and had 11 rebounds and 4 assists. Guy that we've been on early and often, and want to give shout out to Mr. Josh Blocken, calling this guy on out before the year started, but Peyton Pritchard killing it, coming off the bench. 6-man of the year favorite, had 25 points in 33 minutes, also had 5 boards and 4 assists. So this team is better when we're sharing the ball, and that game against Miami was a really good one. And also would like to give a shout out just to the bench in general. Depleted game, bench really stepped up. People like Drew Peterson, that you're not seeing his name called often, played significant minutes and did really well. Just a couple quick highlights about some of these other games. Celtics versus Pistons. Celtics win again. Tatum coming out with a huge game. Sam Hauser also coming out with a huge game. All 5 starters hit double digits. Jaylen Brown continuing to lead the way with 28 points on 36 minutes of play with 6 boards and 9 assists. Just doing what he needs to be doing. Porzingis is, getting back into the lineup, doing a great job. He had 26 points on 29 minutes and was starting to knock down a number of shots from deep. He's always great when he's doing that. And then I think this was also a really great one as well. Just want to talk about Luke Cornett. Had 8 rebounds and 9 points off the bench. Believe he had a number of blocks as well. So that was really great to see as well. And then just the last game that I wanted to call on out here as well is we had the game against Milwaukee. And that was a really great game. The Bucks always play us hard. They've been coming on really strong, 8-2 in the last 10, including the loss they've had against Boston. So if you take that out, they're basically 8-1 in their last 9 against teams not named Boston. So they've been coming on hot. There was a little bit of a kerfuffle and a scuffle with Giannis and Jaylen Brown. So that was interesting. And Lillard, he played well. He put up 30 points, but he was a -7. While Drew, it's something about Drew playing against his old team, just seems to get out of his slump. Had a really good game, was +4 on the floor. But I don't know why they got rid of him, but they did what they did, and we're still rocking and rolling. And then the last game of the week, it was nice to see our former teammate, our former friend Marcus Smart come back. He's got nothing but love from us as Celtics fans, and just not the result that we wanted, but tough game. We'll take the loss a little bit here and come back and start winning some more this week. So
I want to go ahead, E. Wrap up.
no, keep going.
I was going to say, I think, a lengthy stretch for the Celtics where those games are taking place. So to be 3-1 and lose that last game where they really shot the ball like shit from 3 versus Memphis, 18 out of 60, which is just crazy that they're jacking up 63s.
I think that's a proponent of Memphis, though. I really do. You have to give that team credit.
They kind of dared.
For sure.
They dared him to shoot. Drew Holiday was 4 of 17, so he took it almost.
Drew Holiday was also 8 of 26, which is not great. So they dared him to shoot. That was their game plan, was let Holiday shoot, who is in a shooting slump. He did have that great game against Milwaukee, like Eric said, but overall he hasn't been blowing doors off. So
No.
they that was their game plan, was let him shoot and take away Tatum and Brown and everyone else, and it kind of worked. So that was that's one that was a little nervous, and I hope teams don't kind of look at that tape, especially later in the season, because it's something was off that game a little bit.
It was a little off. Tatum had a poor game as well. Six of 20 in that game. Like, and if two more of those threes go in, you're doing it. One thing that they need to do is lock in a little bit more defensively, I think. They're letting teams sort of hang with them throughout the course of the game. And now that they've gotten to the point where they can close those games out, I think the end of the Milwaukee game, conversely to the Memphis game, was a really nice way for them to end things. With Giannis, who just jacked up a terrible three, and then Horford coming down, sticking one, and then Holiday kind of with that runner in the lane to ice it. So good, good wins. This team now goes, I believe they don't play again till Thursday. So
Yeah, they have some nice time off playing the Pistons on Thursday, and then a game on Sunday against the Wizards, and then
Oh, they should
off
clean
again
up.
off again until next Thursday, playing the Bulls, home and home against the Bulls, playing them again that following Saturday on the 21st. So
That's
only
4-0.
we only have 4 games coming up in the next basically 2 weeks. So great opportunity to really just get healthy, get everyone back on track. Anyone who's been in a slump, Drew Holiday, who seems like he might have emerged, but let's just make sure that he really takes advantage over these next 4 games.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Any
Can, one last thing, just because I know it's coming on up. I know it's a little bit further away, but how disappointing is this Christmas Day game against the Sixers? The Sixers just really suck this year. I was really looking forward to the Celtics. I mean, hopefully we'll dominate, but I was looking forward to hopefully a good game on Christmas Day, and I feel like we're being cheated here a little bit.
Nah, you gotta
Play who
assume
you
that
play.
Embiid and Paul George will decide that that's the day that they want to play, since most people will tune in. So if they do, they'll make a whole spectacle out of it. But I have no problem with Philadelphia being a poor team at all. It's
Trust the process.
they don't make the playoffs, it'll be
Tank for flag.
yeah, maybe.
Plotty, also
Process 2.0.
one little tidbit, Plotty, your 6-man bet is Pritchard's minus 260 on DraftKings right now, and the next closest person is plus 1,000. So he's got that in the bag. That's crazy. You called
I
that.
mean, it's been great to see. I'm not, we'll let the season ride out, and hopefully things will come to fruition. But I think that Peyton Pritchard he's just a baller. He's a hooper. Like there's no two ways about it. That guy lives, eats, and breathes basketball, and he's the kind of person that Boston fans fall in love with, because you like can tell how immersed he is into being a Celtic, and he's been through his ups and downs with the team. He was kind of blocked with the point guards that they had in, and now he's had an opportunity to flourish, and he's taken advantage of it. But it's more so like that. I'll never forget that video he had on social media where he was at the Seaport and he's backing down this like 12-year-old kid on the post, and the kid's playing like good defense, but it's like that's who Peyton Pritchard is. Like he's the guy that's a Celtics player that's walking by the park that's going to go pick up the ball and go play, with the kids that are playing there. And like that's why I think people are so enamored with how he's playing, and he's fit the bill. It's been awesome to see. 6-man of the year, not like just continue to help the team win.
Did you guys see Gilbert Arenas and his comments against Peyton Pritchard? Because
Gilbert
come
Arenas,
on,
trash. What did he ever win?
Don't give that dude a
suck
job.
it, Gilbert.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. That'll wrap up NBA talk in the Celtics. Really quickly on the Pats, no game this week, obviously. They have a contest coming up versus Arizona in that lovely 4:25 p.m. slot on Sunday afternoon. So you got the daytime still to get some stuff done. You come home and you relax. You get a nice dinner going at halftime. So looking forward to that.
What is a not 1 o'clock kickoff feel like?
Yeah.
I
So
can't remember.
who's announcing?
Ages.
Is Brady announcing?
Been a minute. No way.
No.
Tom Brady's making his way. Oh, it would be in Arizona, but
Oh.
anyway, he ain't going there.
Even though the Pats didn't play yesterday, they kind of won a little bit, I guess,
They did,
because
they did.
Jacksonville won. So as far as where we are in the standings for a draft pick, I don't think any of us are in favor of a tank per se. We still want to try and win some games, but I think for the standpoint of getting a top 3, top 4 overall pick, I'd be okay if there's someone that really wants a player at one of those positions, and we can parlay that into more future picks, whether that's more this draft or in a future draft. So really hoping that we can take advantage of wherever we fall in the schedule and the standings and get some potential draft capital out of it.
Yeah.
Like Matulski said, it's not about wins and losses at this point. I mean, like, yeah, it's going to be, like you said, it's going to be great to get wins in the win column, but I just want to see improvement. That's all I want to see. Competitive games like they have, even if they are losing by one or two, I just want to see them form an identity and then kind of move from there because you build within the trenches and go out from there. And then once you have an identity and you have an O-line, then forget it. This kid's an athlete.
I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that they lose this week against against the Cardinals. The Cardinals have been kind of on a little bit of a slide, and yeah, we're going out west, but I'm not so convinced that it's going to. I think it's going to be a tight, close game.
I hope.
We'll
I hope
we'll
you're
see.
right.
That the 4 games to kind of get a gauge on going into next season. Like who can you take with you? Who's kind of sticking with it here through the end where there's not much
Yes,
on the line.
you should only keep 2 people.
I'm
Everyone
not
else is-
so I'm
Yeah.
not saying I want, I'd rather have the Patriots roster, but the Carolina Panthers are being they're a team that I think the Patriots should aspire to kind of be like, and they're losing games right now, but they lost to Kansas City by 3 points. They lost to Philly by I don't know, it was like they almost scored a touchdown on that last play. It was
Bryce
they were
Young, Bryce Young
impressive.
got robbed on
So
that
That's what I'm
play.
talking
the
about.
the Panthers are showing that improvement, like you said, Sam, and I think that's what the Pats should kind of we hope that they can do over the next 4
Like
games.
if
But
they lose, oh shit, they lost the game. What the fuck? But it was a competitive game up until
Mhm.
32 seconds, and Ramondre fucking fumbled the ball again
God,
on the 2 line. But
God
but
willing, they're better than the fucking Carolina Panthers. I'm gonna say that.
said it
Hopefully we take
100%.
a leap above that.
This is how far we've fallen.
Let's
Yeah.
let's leap to the segment of the podcast that everybody loves to hear. He's got his mic. It's all you.
It's time for my favorite segment of the week. Yeah. Oh yeah. Anybody got some yeah-ohs or some oh yeah?
Oh yeah,
I got
Wow.
we
I
got
got
oh yes,
yo.
baby.
I got
University of Rhode
yo
Island.
first. Let me have
Fucking
a fucking rant and a half. I don't know why the fuck this computer took me 25 goddamn fucking minutes to turn on. Then I don't know what the hell happened. I couldn't get on with my fucking phone. This wouldn't work.
R2S2.
Then I tried the friggin' my other headphones. Those didn't work either.
Mike
And I'm
Felger, when did you show up?
fucking kidding me. Why can't I just get on? I felt like Felger trying to watch the Bruins.
well,
Oh God.
yeah,
It's the one thing
yeah.
I wanted to do all week was just fucking talk sports and just smooth and bullshit. And I couldn't even fucking get on.
Hey, we got you. We got you on. You're here.
Yeah, here you made it. We had a great conversation with Marina. It's all good. But
I just wanted to get my rant out.
Kraz had to get his rant in, and in the middle of this rant, I already began gloating about the University of Rhode Island Rams, who slay the big brother dragon of the PC fries. Exactly. We got our roadie gear on tonight after what's been a very unforeseen 9-0 start to the season. Breaking out
Nice.
that old shirt there Kraz has from
Yeah,
many good times at the Ryan Center. So it's always great to have a college team to be able to root for when it comes to sports. And hey, if they can make a tournament run, that was in all seriousness, like it
That
was their
was their
biggest
big
win that
one,
they've
yeah.
had since their tournament runs back in 2017, 2018 when Hurley was the coach. And huge shout out to Sebastian Thomas, who had like an unreal second half and just absolutely stuck a three between Bryce Hopkins' eyes. It was a beautiful sight to see. So down goes the Friars, URI 9-0, make a tournament run, and it would be a fantastic, like the fact that they've been so shitty the past couple of years. So for them to have turned a corner like this is unbelievable. J Matt, you're welcome to board the Ram
Yeah.
train.
So I got a yeah, oh yeah, kind of
He
they
doesn't
build
even
off.
want to be on the Ram train. He's like, fuck your Ram train. I'm going right on to the next thing.
I
Big
love
E's
the
got to
Ra-
root for the fucking
I love the
University
roadie
of
I
Rhode
love the roadie Rams,
Island.
but
Damn right you do.
Good
All right,
time.
take next.
So Sean, I don't know if any of you guys caught. It was actually a hell of a game. Was the Bills Rams? The highest scoring game in the league this year. It was like 44-41 or some craziness
Isn't
like
Josh
that.
Allen the highest fantasy points ever?
That's crazy if he did do
Six
that,
total
but
touchdowns.
52
Yeah, that's
points.
crazy.
that's insane. Actually, that's crazy. I got a Yao Sean McDermott for his clock management. In the last few, I think it was like last minute, little bit over a minute left. But I also want to
Pretty good.
Tom Brady for his commentary. And people say that he doesn't bring a lot to the table when he calls games, but he was really good. And I was watching it
Rookie.
live. and he had some really great insight. And I don't know if I would have realized that at the time, that if they ran the ball, that they would have used their timeout, and that it would have affected them having to make an onside kick rather than throw it 3 times and save the timeout. So that was really great insight from him. So I got a yeah, oh McDermott for the terrible coaching mistake, but oh yeah, Brady for his great commentary on it.
Sure.
Anytime we can give Brady an oh yeah, we're gonna do that.
Hell yeah.
And let's give the ghost some credit here. He's a little bit of a learning curve, and it's his first year, and he's already doing big things, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Suck it, Super G.
Was like the whole Twitter sphere of Red Sox free agency and beyond average Mick, who I really wanted to believe in, who had some stories, previously, but just absolutely dropped the ball on this one. I did tune in. He did admit it on the Kirk Minahan show today that he had a source within Fenway Sports Group that he was relying on, and they felt they were in good shape, and then things just ballooned to a place that was out of control. But unfortunately, he's getting roasted improperly. So you can't, and the other people that are on this a little bit more professionally, if you will, have just completely put him in a body bag. So.
Oh, Jeff Passan is dancing on his grave.
Indeed. So gonna have to take him with a grain of salt. And our last shot is with it being a bye week yesterday, so might have been out and about, but there's nothing quite worse than a market basket on a Sunday at any time of day, but really Sunday afternoon.
It's the seventh circle of hell.
Yeah, Biggie, which one do you have to deal with?
I went to the market basket in Chelsea, and I went before the 1 o'clock game started. I figured, hey, if I miss a little bit of the 1 o'clock games, no big deal.
Oh, the old people.
Let me just tell you, I went in there and there was could barely find a parking spot. I had to drive to the end of the parking lot to actually get a spot. Got in there, nice guy who was collecting the carriages gave me one right outside, so that was actually very nice of him. Got inside, tried to, I felt like I was getting pumped up to go to war. Just because you have to deal with all these different competing people, and the tightest, narrowest aisles of any grocery store out there. Like, let me Market Basket. I'm gonna give a little, oh yeah, to Market Basket here. The tagline of more for your dollar. It's true. Yeah, you usually get more for your dollar, but you also have to compete with everyone else for that stuff too. So I'm going in there, and I do my shopping, but then I realize, oh, I got to go check out, and you can't maneuver in the front of the store. Because there's just a bevy of people waiting to get checked out.
I have to say, their carriages are awful. Like the Wegmans carriages, the double deckers. Like if we're really getting into this spatial wise, like that saves a lot of space. Like the Market Basket carriage, those are some big boys there. So
hey, don't worry though. The Wegmans taxes you're gonna pay at least 33% higher.
You're paying for
because you're using those carriages.
You're paying for those nice carriages.
You know that, right? You can have someone else do it for you. Then
no. If you order your groceries, like, okay, I get it, because maybe you can. But there's, as Eric said, if you are going into battle, you're going into war. You have your headphones on. You know that.
I put on my eyeshadow yesterday. I was like, all right, let's go. Let's get pumped up.
You might catch an elbow. Undoubtedly at Market Basket, what you will run into in at least 2 or 3 sections of the store are just a fucking pallet in the middle of an aisle that's already skinny.
Unpacking.
And
I couldn't even find my yogurt yesterday. I was like, what the
hell? Don't get us riled up on Market Basket. We'll go on forever.
I remember I got a case of iced teas once, and the kids are like, "Oh, how much is this?" I was like, "No, you guys fucking write $3. I don't know." They're like, "All right, $3."
Nothing like Market Basket pod talk.
Nothing
like it.
There's nothing like the basket. My first ever job at the basket in good old Clockertown.
Oh, you were an associate.
You had to wear the fucking
Josh Blockett 1 year
blue apron. You had to wear a white button-down shirt with a tie. This was not bullshit job, man. You were dressing up to go to the basket. You were a professional bagger. Now, let me say why I ultimately left the basket was I felt that I hadn't advanced enough from bagging to, the next step in my Market Basket career. And one day, It's kind of a day like today, pouring rain, just gross out, really kind of cold, and they
They
made me
had
go
you
to Chick-fil-A's in the middle of the rain. And they know, like, now you drive to Chick-fil-A and these kids got a fucking umbrella hat on and they're under heaters and it's an awning and whatnot. And at Market Basket, you're just dealing with the conditions. And I was in a
getting
spot.
pneumonia,
I looked like I went to through a car wash, come back in. Never showed up to Market
freezing in the
Basket
building.
again. That was it. I
I
just
will
said
say,
I can't be fetching carts in the rain for 7.25 an hour. It was just I had to find something else. And then, refereeing and umpiring really padded the pockets back in the
if
day.
you grow up in the Boston area, you have a relationship with Market Basket. They've been around forever. They survived like one of the craziest scenarios that I think we've seen in any
Case
labor
study.
market. About 10 years ago when they basically went on strike because of the ownership feud that was going on at the time. So just still crazy that like Market Basket is the go-to, and it's where I shop, and I assume that's where you guys shop sometimes as well.
Legendary store. We'll continue the Market Basket Chronicles on
We gotta get Artie on the
future
podcast.
episodes. Oh my goodness. Well, if you have any avenues to already reach out. And we'll take an avenue over to the Pike and wrap this baby up tonight. Really the week ahead is a few Celtics games Thursday and Sunday. We got the Bruins playing the Jets, the Kraken and the Canucks Thursday.
West Coast trip.
Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Once again, huge shout out Marina for jumping on with us. Great Bruins chatter with her at the beginning of the episode. And lastly, the Pats in that beautiful 425 slot with kickoff versus the Cardinals on Sunday. So Gabe should hopefully be back next week. Next week, we got Trevor Haas on the pod talking a little bit of college basketball, a little bit of upcoming bowl season for college football, in addition to our usual episodes. So excited to have Trevor jump on with us. And then we'll take a little holiday break and be back we'll have a New Year's spectacular episode for everyone. So a week off, but the train keeps rolling. Any parting thoughts, gentlemen, before we wrap it up?
Oh, it was good to see you, boys.
Great to see you. I hope the Bruins keep stringing it together. West Coast trip, big trip for them, and yeah, hopefully the Pats pull out a miracle. Let's see.
Red Sox, sign someone. Do it.
Do it now.
I
That's
dare
gonna-
you.
That's
Right.
going to do it. Boston Sports Brothers signing off. Near far, wherever you are. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.
Hello.
Y'all.
Later.